Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our RTS podcast series. Today, I'm with Musab Joffrey. He's one of our solution architects here at Resolve Tech. So, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to a great conversation today around how AI is shaping cloud operations and managed services. So, with that, I'll just go ahead and get into the questions.
Sure thing.
So, Musab, from your perspective, how is AI shaping day to day cloud operations today?
It's interesting. As we move along in our industry, we are seeing AI getting more and more traction. And we see that this is like a buzzword these days, right? But AI has been there for a little bit. We have seen automation, daily mundane tasks are getting automated, which is good because engineers should have a little bit of more free time to be doing a little bit more strategic work instead of doing the repetitive tasks. So there's that automation that AI has been able to do. And frankly, it speeds up the process. So DevOps, like scaling stuff, monitoring resources, that part is getting automated, which is good. Then we have incident responses, which is also getting automated, which is really good for us because of AI. Predictive analysis. This is something that I've talked about in previous videos as well. We have had ML, machine learning, for a couple of decades now. In different industries like manufacturing and all, they have been using all of this to basically predict using data and processing vast amount of data like logs and matrices to basically churn and see what we have as an anomaly helps us find anything like uh, measuring when we can have a downtime or when there can be a spike and how we can reduce cost. This is something that we have had AI since, I guess, early 2000s. So that's one of the things that MSPs are able to really work on more in this era. While talking about that, let's say scaling up, there's also a scaling down. Throughout the year, we don't have use of all the VMs and all the resources on the cloud all the time. So cost optimization is something that is really needed. When you're using the cloud, the cost, it spirals out of control all the time. And if you're not, looking into it, if you're not monitoring your resources smartly, you can lose it. AI has been here recently a lot to be able to like help us suggest when we need to scale down, when we need to cut costs, on what resources we can basically deprovision, which resources are idle at the moment or can be idled down because they're not being reused or basically are not used up to the potential that can be, basically deprovisioned or downscaled to basically cut cost and save a lot of money. Because as we know, back in the day when we didn't use cloud, we could just, turn off our servers, right? In the cloud, that's not in our hand, but still, cloud cost is one of the things that we do need to keep an eye on, and AI has been there for us. We have security. Security is one of the big things that we have had a challenge in this era because everything moved onto the cloud. That means everything is out there. The data and lots of data is out there. So we have had this opportunity with AI to be able to process a vast amount of data, user behavior, network traffic, all of that, to basically detect suspicious activity and network activity. And AI is like a big prominent there to basically check the logs, look at the data, massage the data, and tell us preactively, basically, when there's a chance of having a threat or basically where there's a chance of getting an invasive attack. Or let's just say that now we can proactively work on something instead of reacting to something,
Right.
which is a big difference in how we perceive things.
Definitely. And the amount of use cases is pretty incredible. There's
Yes,
been so many, not just with cloud operations and managed services, but beyond.
for sure, definitely. Our method to reacting to things have, like I said, now it's proactive instead of reactive.
Right. So, what are some of the AI and machine learning capabilities built into Azure or AWS that you're seeing today?
So for the AWS, we have AWS cost anomaly detection, and for Azure, we have Azure cost management. Both of them are now enabled with complete AI and ML backed response that actually actively monitors your resources and gives you the insights on the fly. So you can basically, instead of going in and checking your resources one by one, you can actually basically have a dashboard where you see what resources are performing at what level and which ones are idle. And it gives you suggestions on what you can do to optimize cost, which you can bring down or which you can scale down. So this is something really good for us.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's exciting. Are there third party AI tools that you use that complement some of the cloud native ones?
Yes, not all customers have needs that fit into like one native out of the box solution. And some of the customers don't actually use only one cloud platform. Some of our customers have AWS and Azure at the same time. So for that, we kind of sometimes rely on third party solutions. For instance, if you look at Logic Monitor, that's one of most common third party tools that we use. It's like a AI ops tool to basically detect threats and preemptively tell us that there's an anomaly that can happen. And best of all, it's like one-stop shop for both integrations for AI and Azure and AWS. So we don't have to go log into Azure separately and AWS separately. You can integrate with both and show us in the same dashboard for both of them.
Right, there's a huge time savings there.
Definitely.
Where do you think companies should be a little bit more cautious on the use of AI within their cloud operations?
Well, if you take a step back, you should always think that over reliance on AI is kind of dangerous. And I think I've mentioned this in previous episodes as well, that with AI, it's like, garbage in, garbage out kind of situation. Uh, the AI's response and AI's behaviors are as good as the data it was trained on. So if the data is incomplete, it's not good. If the data quality was not worked on, that AI's response, AI's decision making is gonna get affected. Plus, I always believe there should always be a human in the loop to ensure that any decision that the AI is making is always having a human insight, and a human intervention can always be done to ensure that no damage is done. Plus, of course, if a human intervention is done, there can always be a feedback loop that, I made this decision to overrule the AI's decision and why and what was done so that the AI machine learning model can learn.
Definitely. So it should be used as a tool instead of, a role on its
Definitely.
own. Yeah.
And this is what I say, AI should never replace humans completely. It should basically augment all of our activities. AI should be helping engineers, not replacing them. I would say that engineers should never be firefighting. That should be the AI's job overall, while engineers do the heavy lifting of like doing the creative tasks or strategic tasks. And but AI should not be completely replacing humans because there's always that nuanced side thing, that insight that humans will always have that AI might miss out.
Right. What would you say excites you the most about AI at this point in time?
Well, technology always excites me, so I would say that everything excites me nonetheless. But I would say that working as an MSP, if AI can have in the cloud space, AI can have this self healing, self fulfilling situation for us where environments can take care of themselves. The cloud environments can take care of themselves in a way where um, it remediates incidents themselves, that there's no downtimes because the response is taking care of the AI themselves. Then we can work on designing the solutions more instead of worrying about how to manage the problem. Like, remember the CrowdStrike issue?
Yes.
maybe an AI would have been able to minimize the downtime by foreseeing what went wrong and reading the data, going back, undoing all of that instead of humans worrying what happened.
Yeah.
AI can go through the data faster than us.
Right. If someone listening wants to explore implementing AI in their cloud operations today, what advice would you give them to start?
Well, that's simple. Start small. Take one use case that is important for your organization or yourself. Do not implement AI for the sake of doing AI. There should always be an ROI. If there's no return, it's not worth the investment, of course. But this should always be a use case that is important to the company. Like, let's say, monitoring the health of resources and pick a tool. Let's say if your resources are on Azure, let's take data from Azure Monitor and read through the data, have AI go through that data, but the data should be complete, data should be consistent, data should not have out of out of bounds data or data that is gonna mess up your learning capabilities or AI's learning capabilities, not yours, basically. But read tutorials, learn, have the capacity to learn, have your team learn it, and for more complex solutions, come to us.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
that's what we're here for.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Musab. It was great having you on our podcast. And thank you
Definitely.
all for tuning in today.
Thank you.